it's Rhonda here from Nelson Soapery. Today we are going to be back for our Sunday chat, and I know you haven't seen me for a while, and yes, I do still sound a little bit snuffly, but I'm sure that you won't mind with matter, and I just cannot shake it off, but I'm definitely on the mend. And today I thought, and I'm sorry, but I'm eating a lozenge just in case, because to try and get my voice and my throat back to normal. But anyway, today we are going to be talking about, evolving your business, and how do you actually know that you're at that stage? Because lots of people have said to me, they've been selling for a while, they're loving what they're doing, but how do they actually know if they are right for the next level? And can I tell you, it takes time to actually know if you're ready to scale your business up or scale your business down. And you can't just open straight away and then be this big full-blown business, because usually what happens, you may make the sales, but then you start panicking, you feel overwhelmed, it's just too much. So like I said, there's a few steps before you start to scale up and really move your business to that next level. So today we're going to be talking about, how you're starting, how you slowly grow, and how you can get that growth to move up the ladder. And also with that growth, that is a little bit about what we call, evolving, because you do need to actually evolve from a small business or maybe even a hobby business to further on. Hello, Soap Chef, my darling friend. How are you, my love? Welcome to our Sunday chat. It is 11 a.m. in actually beautiful sunny Melbourne today, because it has been raining the last 2 days. But today is lovely, so I thought it's time to get back into a bit of a Sunday chat. I do have lots of my notes here. And I can tell you, I do understand this bit about evolving, because when I first started, it was only a hobby. It was never meant to be anything more than that. I never even thought I'd earn any money at all. But then once you start to get into it, you start to evolve a little bit more and things change. Hello, candle making stylist. How are you, my love? Welcome. Watching from Tennessee. Hello, Pam, my lovely friend from Canada. How are you, my love? I hope you're doing super duper well. So now I thought off the back end of the conference, we will start to talk about all of these things, because these are a lot of things people asked, for anyone that didn't come to my conference that's just finished, after basically, there was a speech or something, and a lot of you would not have seen, but there was like a question time, and then people in the audience got to ask, how did you get to that level? How did you start to do this? What's your percentages on packaging? What's your COGS? There's so many things, what's your acquisition? So there's so many things that people want to know, and terms that a lot of people may not even have heard of. But once you get into business, you need to understand that. And there's also about that. Hello, Marie, darling. Welcome, my love, to Sunday Chat. So let's get into it. We need to get into it and start going rather than me just talking. So now we're going to start first of all with, most of us start as a hobbyist. You make this as a hobby, you love it, you think it's fun, and then you go, okay, now I want to get to the next level. So, you're making a little bit of money, maybe you're doing a farmer's market or a craft market, as we call it in Australia, and then you sort of want to get to that next level of selling. Now, to sell to the next level, and when we say next level, that might mean wholesale. It might mean you want to be in lots of stores. It might mean you want your branding really recognized. To get all of that, there's lots of stepping stones. So if you start at the start, which some people do, and they will have $100,000 to invest into product development, that's fine, but you have to have that business know-how before you can do that. So if you don't have that super business know-how, I definitely suggest that you do it the tortoise way, the slow way, because that way you won't feel overwhelmed, and those little steps will help you. And my dad used to say to me, every job you do sets you up for the next job to do even better. And I do agree with that, because, you learn tricks and trades from every job that you do, and then you can sort of pass those over into the next thing. So like I said, if we're started, we're a hobbyist, we might sell, well, let's say we're just going to go to a market, we sell just soap. So, you're doing really well, and you think, now I want to get to the next level with my company. First thing, and a lot of people may not like this, but honestly, and I've talked to so many businesses that are telling me this. They've said, look, if you want to get your product to the next level and be branded in stores and for stores to accept you, you need professional packaging. None of us like that. I totally understand that. It costs a lot of money to do professional packaging. It really does. Look, you can go on Fair Trade Square, all of these ones, which I'm on both of them for wholesale. I will tell you, a lot of people get told no. If you do not have a legitimate site, you don't have lots of products, they won't accept you. So you need to get your site looking really up to date before they'll accept you as well. And the thing with all of these things as well is, you know, basically professional packaging, it just shows, hey, I'm here, I'm here to stay because I've spent all this money. And, you know, like, for instance, let's pretend this, right? We've got a bar of soap. It looks pretty okay, doesn't it? Now, we could easily just, you know, get some paper, put a beautiful label on it, like many people do. It wraps around there and it becomes your little sleeve. Now, that is fine, but if you want to get to the next level, you need this to be packaged, whether it's in a box or whether it's even a sleeve that is professionally made and not printed yourself. That is important, because that will actually get you to the next level, and that will make other businesses say, hey, they're serious, let's start, you know, getting to the next level with that. So at the moment, I'm in the middle of designing. So you can go on Canva or something like that. You can design all the packaging you want and then reach out to some packaging companies. Now, it doesn't matter what country you're in. Most of them are, that's generally where the packaging definitely suggests. Get all that right first and reach out, get some quotes. Never give any money to anyone until you've got quotes and you're 100% certain that's where you want to go. Because honestly, that's what helps. Yeah, that's right, Soap Chef. 100% agree with you, lovely. As she was just saying, you know, companies will not look at you without professional packaging, and it is true. And at the conference, we had a company called Wild Emery, and now that's an Australian company, which I know of Beth, who is the owner, quite well. She is very good at packaging, and as she even said, she had one up on many people because she had the background in graphic artistry. She also had the background of understanding that packaging and so on, but she had to do a lot of research. And as she said, just Google everything. That's what she did. She's Googled and Googled and Googled. And eventually you come up with things and you learn. Like, I mean, I've learned so much as I've gone along. But as she said, the reason that now she's been going for about 18 months. She stocks 100 stores. And as she said, the reason she's stocking 100 stores is she has professional packaging, her product. And the reason we're saying professional packaging and not just sticking a label on, it's much easier to sell. If you have a gift shop, it's much easier to sell something that is professionally packaged rather than something in a white box with a sticker on. So that is the difference. And there's nothing wrong. I'm saying there's nothing wrong. I still do that myself. But as time goes on, hopefully by next year, everything I have will be professionally packaged. But it takes time and money. So if you can only afford it, one thing I suggest is, say you have a soap line, you have a lotion line, you know, maybe a candle line. I would choose one. So to start with, if you have, say, 8 soaps in your range, I would get all of them professionally packaged at once. Get those done, don't worry about the others, and then put that on your site. Once you've saved up more money, then go to getting the candles done. So just choose one section at a time, and eventually you'll do that. And you'll notice on my site what I've started to do is I've started to cull a lot of my lines. So I've got rid of lots of lines on there that you'll see that have gone. And I've thought, look, I have to concentrate on things that are my big sellers. And so for me, my big sellers are candles, definitely soap. Soap's my number one big seller. Lotions, body butters, they're big sellers. So those are main big sellers for me. So, you know, you need to, and car diffusers, sell heaps of car diffusers. So you need to kind of concentrate on the things that are really good. And with your professional packaging, I talked about this on Instagram too, that please know when you're using Canva, a lot of things on there you cannot use commercially. So there's certain texts that you're not allowed to use without a license. So that's really important. And when you're doing your packaging, try to keep your text to only 2 to 3 fonts at the very most. Try and keep the fonts all the same, every single packaging. You don't really want to be changing that. because that keeps it consistent, keeps your brand on trend, and sort of figure out what's your color. You know, what do you like? As Wild Emery said to me, their color is generally white, green, and black. So if you go on their site, you will definitely see everything. You can go and check her out. Beth will not mind. It's wildemery.com. I think it might be .com.au. I can't remember. But anyway, just check them out. And it will give you an idea. And you can see how consistent her brand is. And that is why she's done well. And it's the same as any brand that's coming on the market. It's consistency. It's branding. It's, you know, making sure you're following a trend. So we're going to talk about that little trend a little bit next. Now, this is the thing. If, say, for instance, you like motorcycles, you have to be realistic. Is everyone that you're targeting going to like that? If not, you need to think it doesn't matter what you think. So it's not really about what me or you think. It's about what your market audience thinks. So if you're trying to sell to an audience that loves nature and green, there is no good putting everything in plastic because they're not going to like that. You know, and start to talk about things that are important to your brand as well. You know, is your brand, are you using less plastic? Are you palm free? You need to find something that people are going to resonate with to evolve. And all of these will help you with your packaging, and it will help you kind of evolve from someone small to big. And when we're talking about evolving followers, you know, I did start with nothing, and then, you know, you slowly build up your YouTube, then you'll build up Patreon, then you'll build up your shop or wholesale, whatever you're doing, Reels, Instagram, it slowly starts to build. And that's a part of evolving your business from a hobby to getting to wholesale or to the next level. So, and I'm going to look at my notes because I forgot. And another thing that I really love, and I've seen this, like lots of companies, so say for instance they sell wholesale, they don't just send it in one boring brown box. They will have their label stamped on the outside. Now, most people can't afford to get those boxes done, but you know, you can buy massive big stamps like this. You can get them on Etsy or anywhere, and then just get a black ink pad and stamp the outside of the box, which, so for me, for instance, it might say Nelson in big letters. So then on that Nelson thing, just make sure that, you know, you're putting your brand on it. So if your brand is, for instance, Soap Chef, then, you know, you would put your logo on the outside of the box, and the stamp might cost you $40, but then, you know, literally you can just buy the plain box and put your stamp on it. So that's something I definitely suggest if you're wanting to get to the next level, or you can buy massive stickers and put them on the outside as well. But I do think just the plain black sort of goes with the market. And then as you grow so much, then of course you can go to China or any places like that and get boxes made. But, you know, that's when you're ordering 50,000 or something. I'm definitely anywhere near that kind of level. And you know what? Once you start to get wholesale clients, they come back. Like, I have a lot of wholesale clients that come back. I mean, I don't sell tens of thousands of orders every year or anything on wholesale, but this is the thing. You can start from one wholesale order, and then before you know it, you might have 40 a month. So, but it takes time, and you need platforms like Faire and so. And, you know, once you start to sell them, people come back and back. So it's really important just to understand a little bit about that evolving process from 1 to 2. And for any of you that are in my Facebook group, you would have seen I put some pictures up of some soaps that I've been designing. I've kept part of that design, but rechanged it a bit. I will share it as we go along. And I will actually be doing a series of videos to share my packaging journey and how I've actually started doing this, because it is not easy, and it's one that a lot of people get very stressed about, myself included. And I think the thing is, because if you think about this realistically, we are spending a lot of money on packaging. You know, it's not like we're not talking $100, we're talking thousands. And to get most packaging done, usually you've got to invest about $20,000. But, you know, you might not invest that in one go. You might just, so for me, my first order is going to be 3,500 boxes, which I've almost settled on that. So I've just got to send over the designs. And a lot of companies now too, you can design it on Canva, send it to them, and they will do the graphic artistry for free, because they want your money. And don't feel shy to negotiate. If someone comes back and says $1 a box, that is too much. So if it was a box for something like this, $1 is too much a box. You want to be paying under 60 cents a box. So you need to negotiate that. They're not going to give you the best deal without negotiating. And you need to go back and say, well, actually, no, it's too much. How much is it in bigger quantities or whatever? And then kind of try and get everything going. Hi, Stephanie York. How are you, my love? Welcome to our Sunday chat. So now we've talked a little bit about that, haven't we? And wholesaling or what, and just making sure that you're really targeting your target market, because there's no good targeting, people that love driving motorcycles if you're selling floral things, because it'd be of only one or two would like it. So it's very important. And it's also important to not think about what you like. And that's been a really hard lesson for me, because I always think, well, I love this, but people don't want to buy just because you love it. They want to buy something that they like. And so I may love everything being floral, but the general market is not going to. So you need to find the market that suits your buyers. You can still have that floral, you can still have that pretty if that's what you like, but you just need to be a little bit more modern and just remember, who your target market is, which is really important. And one thing I will tell you, selling wholesale, you can't have cheap products. You can't be trying to sell $7 soap, because I can tell you right now, you're not going to make any money. So a soap may cost you, we'll say $2 to make a soap. It probably costs more depending what you're putting in your soap. If you're going to sell that for $7, you're going to remember wholesale is half of that. So that's only $3.50. So it means you're only making $1 a soap. That's not enough money to sustain a business. So in Australia, the average person, doing wholesale will sell their soaps for about anything from $10 to $15 a soap. And then, of course, they sell it for half of that wholesale, because you got to remember, gift stores put their price up. They're not selling a soap for $10. They're going to be selling it for $15. So that's the thing, just think about your market and, go into programs such as Inventora. I use Inventora. You can pop in all of your products and it will tell you exactly what it cost. Times it by 2, times 4. Generally for myself, I times my product, whatever the cost is, times 4 plus 10%. And that is my cost that I'm going to sell retail. Sometimes, no, you need to lower it if it's going to be too high. But generally, that's what it is. And I'm just putting the air conditioner on while I'm sitting here as well. Now, let's talk about the next thing. Like I said, make sure that your product is relevant to the market. So when I say that, there's no good having something that you just know is probably not going to sell. We just need to be realistic. I mean, like I've seen lots of people putting squishy toys in this and doing that. Well, if your market is a younger vibe, younger person, like a young woman in her 20s, they're probably not going to want a squishy duck in a soap. So, you've got to sort of see, is that relevant to them? They'll probably prefer something else. And to be honest, I've made all the fancy soap, and I can tell you where I make most of my money is the plain soap. That is totally plain, no fancy tops. That's where I make my money. And because my soap is professionally packaged, even though I wrap it, it's still professionally packaged. I can tell you, with that professional packaging, 99% they are what everyone buys. Yeah, same Soap Chef. Yeah, I've made all the pretty soaps, and as fun as they are, people don't buy them. Generally, look, sometimes they do if you had a shop, but for me, generally, people just want to buy something. They don't want to buy something that has a big pyramid at the top. It's kind of hard to hold. And if you're going to sell them, usually you'll sell them to another soaper that just can see the art in it. They're not buying it because of a soap, they're buying it because of the art. So that is super important. Now, also at the conference, we had another lady talk, which was House of Cart, or a Shopify expert, and they were talking a lot about making sure everything's right. Oh, you're the same, Pam. Yes, plain one sell. 100% agree. And when I first started, so you can see this is my soap. Now, if I hold it in my hand, that's easy to hold. I had one that was bigger, like the wider loaves, and I couldn't sell them. And my mother-in-law was the one that said to me one day, and it was probably kind of wide like that, so you can see that's awkward to hold. And my mother-in-law said, it's so wide, I can't hold it, and it just falls out of my hand in the shower. And I thought, okay, fair enough. And then that's when I came up with my much thinner, smaller ones, and these are about, I think, 120 grams. So, and the same as, like, can you see how this soap, the top's a bit wonky? That's the only reason this happened, that I did this funny top, is it went to like soap in a stick, so to speak. So straight away, it hardened immediately. It did not love this fragrance. And it made a whole slab, so I had to just hurry it up. So, but even this one, people don't like this rippled top, and it's only a little bit. So, compared to this one, that's just pretty flat. So anyway, that's just a little bit of something to think about when making soap. Another thing I would tell you is try and be a bit unique. Try and find something else. Yeah, you got the one, Stephanie, too. Yeah, that were wide. I know. And those wide soaps, although they look pretty, they're really hard for people to hold. Unless you're going to make them and then split them in half, so you sell them as two soaps in one. Maybe that's an okay option if you've got those molds and you want to utilise them. That's what I'd be doing. Because people like that, they're getting two for the price of one. But and the same as my soap here, it's only 2.3 centimetres wide. It's not very big. And people like that. So, because nobody wants to have a soap for ages in the shower. You want to use it and get on to the next fresh new one, And anyway, but that's something that you can definitely do. Oh, you're the same, Marie. Yeah, totally understand. Lee's Little Luxuries. Hello, lovely. Welcome. Welcome to our Sunday chat. And we're just talking about lots of things, business and evolving and so on. So like I said, House of Cart are a Shopify expert. Now they talked quite a bit about knowing your market, making sure your photography is good. And I always say to people, like, I take everything. Even now I'm on an iPhone. We're talking on an iPhone. I don't have a fancy camera or anything like that, so I do take my photos on here. But on my Patreon, I did put a few links. I'll see if I can find a few links for this video after. There's a few YouTube videos on how to take photos that are really interesting. And even though some of them use a camera, you can take tips from that. They talk about lighting and just using like white paper on either side, how to deflect a bit of lighting and stuff like that. It was really interesting. And some of them are only 2 or 3 minute videos, but just really good. Because if you don't have a good image, no one's going to buy it. If I put this soap and it's blurry and it looks ugly, say for instance I take a picture like this and you can see all this stuff in the background, people can't see everything else. You want to blur that background out, or it doesn't have to be blurred out, but take this on a white background. So if you have a white piece of paper, we'll get one here, and like that, it's really easy to see rather than all of the other bits in the background. So the photography is super important, and I know lots of us think it's not, but it really, honestly, truly is very, very important. So please make sure that you're really looking into that. It's very important. And like I said, try and keep it consistent. So if you're on your site, there's no good having an orange background in one, a white in the other, and so on. If you're doing lifestyle skills, that might be sort of blurring the background. You've got your soap over the sink and you're taking a picture. That's a very common one I see quite often, or over the bath or something like that. That's fine, but just make sure that you don't have bright orange, washcloths in the background, or bright red, and then in the next one you have purple, because it makes it look a bit strange. So try and keep it all very similar. And as many of you know, I've studied interior design, and a part of that is they always talk about cohesive, and that is just making sure that everything fits together, everything's smooth, it glides well together. That is a part of design, no matter what design you're in. And when you're taking photos, that is a part of design. Exactly, cohesive, yep. And and that's really a part of design, trying to make sure that all of your products are cohesive and they're just gliding smoothly along. You don't want somebody to be stopped at the bold red color, and because then they'll go, oh, and then your brand is kind of lost a little bit in just that one image. And I noticed that a lot with myself. So like I said, that is something that to think about. And also, as I said, please don't think that you need to just start doing everything straight away, because it does cost a lot of money and most of us can't afford that. But, you know, any big company that is making a mark on the market, you will see they have professional packaging. I've shown lots of videos on how to make your own labels, and that is fine. Please don't think that's wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. But then you'll slowly get to a level where you may think, okay, maybe I need now to go to professional packaging. I have sold still thousands and thousands of dollars with my own labeling, sticking it and making it. But even then, you need your label to look good. And at the start, I actually didn't sell that much. But as I got better with my own labels and sticking them on, then I started to sell more. So that's also very, very important to understand. And one thing I'll tell you that I learnt the hard way is having too many products. I thought, I'm going to have every product everyone wants. I'm going to have thousands of this and thousands of that, and everyone will love it. But sometimes people say to me, there's too much to choose. I didn't know which one to choose. So it's really, really important just to try and, cull back your things a little bit. So, I know we see lots of people that have a skincare company and they might sell scrunchies or earrings or, trays or trinket things, or it might be something else, and that's okay. But, don't try and do too much, because otherwise your brand, I think, gets a little bit muddled along the way, unless you're a gift store and, you do plenty of other things. So my tip now for the end, let's balance it all up. Definitely figure out your branding. Make sure that you're in the market. Oh, you're right. 100% Soap Chef. She's saying, it's really hard to pare things back. And it is. And, I always remember with design when they, because for us a living, I used to style people's homes, especially brand new homes. I'd go in and style them, and, or homes that are going to be sold. So you would style the home and they'd say, stand back and remove two things. And that is paring it back. So that's what they'd say every single time. Just remove something. So think about that. Maybe you won't have too many brands things. So even if you can have 10 lines, but you don't want to have, like, I've seen people have 50 different soaps. That's a lot. Can you imagine the packaging cost in that? I even think I have a lot of soaps. Once I sell out a few of these, which are almost sold out of, then we'll go to the next thing. And the same as you can see my tin candles, they're going to be gone. We're going to remove those, and they'll just have my concrete ones eventually. Oh, same thing. Too many fragrances. Yeah, that's the thing too. And we all love fragrances, but you need to really find one you love and stick with that. And then what I say is, every 3 months, just bring in one more and take one out or something, Yeah, you have 12 soaps. Yeah, well, I'm going to pare mine back to 13. So, because I have a lot, but I do sell a lot of soap. So, and that's the thing. If you have a company and soap is a big seller, maybe you're going to have a lot of products in that. So for me, 80% of my sales are soap. So it's just a massive, massive amount of product that I sell is definitely soap. Even the last 2 wholesale orders I got this week, they're both soap. So it's really important just to also remember where your bread and butter is. And for me, it is definitely the soap. So do think of all of that as well, and just think of your branding. Yeah, soap selling is huge. It's massively huge. And I do get lots of people asking me for classes. I don't do classes. The only one I'll do that I do is on my Patreon. It's $99 a month, and we do 2 Zooms live, and it's just a one-on-one class. So if anyone wants to learn that, that's where I do the classes, because I often get asked, and I only take 5 people at one time. So and I've already got 3 signed up, so I don't take that many. I do them there in Melbourne as well, yeah. So, and there's lots of places that actually do classes for soap making if anyone wants to know. There's quite a lot. So I do know Robin Soap House also do them once a month. You can go, but they only take 7 people in their class at the very most. You're cooking up black raspberry. Oh, no, it's always a favourite. I don't do it because it's such a favourite. That's why I don't do it. So I never choose ones that other people have. I try and change it. Yeah, you drop bath bombs. You know, bath bombs are not good for me at the moment, Pam. I will tell you that. I mean, I used to sell heaps of bath bombs. Now, no, I don't sell that many, but I'm only going to have 4 bath bombs, and they're going to be packaged. Maybe, oh, actually, no, I think I'm bringing 2 more. So I'm going to have 6 bath bombs at the most. That is it. And they'll be professionally packaged. But I do also think that professional packaging does sell. But as a friend of mine said, she doesn't sell her bath bombs wholesale because she doesn't feel like she makes enough money from them. So but I've never sold my bath bombs cheap. I've never sold them for $5 or anything. Most of my bath bombs are around $9-10 each, so they're definitely not cheap. But it depends on what's in it, depends on your market. But if you get that packaging right, people will pay it. And the thing is that, you know, I say too, you got to remember, people pick up the package. They don't, like, if you think of this soap, now I know this feels nice because I use my own soap, but they don't get the chance in the shop to rub this all over themselves and wash themselves with it first. They don't get that chance. So the only chance they're getting is seeing that in the shop, they're seeing the box. So the box has to really sing. If the box doesn't sing, it's no good. You know, super, super important to think of that. And, you know, as I said, you know, my friend from Wild Emery, she has definitely given me lots of tips in when, you know, making your boxes, what you need to do. And as she said, you know, just make sure your text is good, make sure that your packaging is similar, make sure that it is all cohesive for your brand. Otherwise, it looks a bit messy and people still think you don't know what you're doing if it looks messy. And that's been hard for me to pare things back. And one thing that I learnt, which I didn't know, on Canva, a lot of the images, they're copyrighted. So you can use them to make things 100%, but you can't use them in a commercial zone. So you've got to check if you're allowed to use them, which I didn't know that. I thought if you pay for the pro account, you can use them, but some things you cannot, same as some text you can't. So please do check that out. And if you want to know if your text can be used, just Google, for instance, we'll say the text Brittany, which I know you can't. Oh, thank you, Pam. That is so nice. Thank you. I'm really glad it's helped. And if you go to Google and write, is Brittany a free text or free font to use? Often it will say no, or it will say you need additional license. So whichever one you're using on Canva, it will tell you what it's called, and then just Google that. And I've learnt a lot from that. And a big thanks and shout out to my friend Beth from Wild Emery for telling me that, because I had no idea at all. Crocheted washcloths. Yeah, I actually wanted to get some of those too, but I haven't been able to see them at all. Maybe on AliExpress, maybe. Oh, thank you. You guys are so nice. Thank you. I really appreciate you watching and learning from me, because like I said, when I started this, I thought I've got nothing to offer. How am I going to show anyone how to do anything? But, you know, that's the thing, everyone. You know, by starting a YouTube channel and things like that, you get to meet so many people, and you also get to help people as well. So never look at someone as competition. I never look at it that way. I always share my tips. I mean, maybe you don't want to share all your recipes and things like that, but you can share some things. Don't feel scared. I mean, a soap recipe is not that hard. You know, people can change it all the time. I change my recipe all the time. So, you know, don't be scared to share, everyone. Sharing is caring. You know, I really don't think, I don't think that everybody should, you know, be too scared at all. So, like I said, I share everything, and it has definitely made me successful, because then people show that you can be trusted as well. Well, that's right. Exactly. Yeah, 21 years and you're still learning. I learn every single day. There's never a day that I don't learn. But, you know, that's the thing. Oh, and I'm comfortable to watch. Thank you, darling. That is so nice. And look, I'm going to say this before I go. A lot of people have said to me, why don't I do, you know, a channel like, well, not a channel, but, you know, videos that are more, they look like a movie, you know, where they show me eating and doing all this. Well, I'm not going to do that, because no one really wants to see me eat food. I mean, but, you know, no, I don't do that. And I try and keep it real. I try and keep it exactly as it is. You know, having a business isn't easy, and I'm not going to just show all the good stuff. It's important that you understand you know, that there's a lot of other sides that you need to understand. If you don't understand something, please reach out to a lawyer or an insurance agent in your industry. I am not either of those. A disclaimer, I am definitely not either of those. All the advice I give is just, you know, my own personal advice as well. So that's definitely what I'd say. But yeah, don't... Oh, thank you, Pam. That is so nice. And I do try and keep it real. You know, as I always say, I'm just a mum from the suburbs. And I had a person the other day saying, don't say just. But, you know, it's just my way of saying it. We all know just a mum is not a mum. Mum's the most important job in the world. But, you know, like I said, just slowly go through all these little things because they will actually help your business get to that next level as well. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do. You know, I really do try and offer that advice because I think it's really important. You know, when I first started in this industry, I didn't realize you had to register for soap. I mean, I wasn't selling it, but it wasn't until I started researching. Now, a lot of people sell it without registering, they sell it without even a proper business. And it's not that they're trying to be doing the wrong thing, they don't understand. There's not enough information out there. And that's why I started the conference, to give information for people so people could start to understand that you actually need to do these things. You can't just start these. And as many of my US friends may know, my plan is I am turning 51 this year. My 55th birthday, I am hoping to fly to the US to a conference. But fingers crossed, I will let everyone know. That's my goal anyway. But we'll see what happens, won't we? But anyway, hopefully I can do something like that, but we will see. But anyway, for today, I will let all of you go so that I don't hurt my voice anymore. But I am getting better, everyone. I promise you I am. Yeah, no, they don't understand the importance of being registered. That's right. You know, they really don't. Oh, good night, my friend. I know it is the evening over there in the US, but it is only not even lunchtime here in Melbourne, Australia, and finally the sun is out. So register your businesses, everyone. Understand that business side before you go any further. It will stop you having a lot of headaches down the road. Anyway, bye, friends. I'll see you next time. Bye.